Welcome to Warbirds, the channel where history takes flight. Today, we turn our attention to one of the most distinctive and often underestimated fighters of World War II, the Bell P-39 Airacobra. At first glance, the Airacobra didn't look like the legendary fighters of its time, such as the P-51 Mustang or the P-47 Thunderbolt. But behind its unusual design was an aircraft that played a vital role in multiple theaters of war, leaving a mark on aviation history. The P-39 Airacobra was unique in its engineering. Unlike most fighters of the era, its engine was mounted behind the cockpit, connected to the propeller by a long drive shaft. This gave the plane a distinctive profile and allowed for one of its most important features, a 37mm nose cannon. Unlike other fighters armed with small-caliber machine guns, the Airacobra could unleash devastating firepower with a single shot from its cannon, powerful enough to shred through armored vehicles and enemy bombers. In American service, the Airacobra was originally intended as a high-altitude interceptor. However, its lack of a turbo supercharger meant it struggled at very high altitudes. While this limitation kept it from excelling in European skies dominated by long-range missions, it became a perfect low to medium-altitude fighter. And in that role, it thrived. The United States deployed the P-39 across several airbases, from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, where prototypes and tests were conducted, to Randolph Air Force Base and Edwards AFB, where pilots trained with the aircraft. It also appeared in the Pacific Theater, including operations near Pearl Harbor. But where the Airacobra truly made its name was not in American hands, it was in the hands of the Soviet Air Force. Through the Lend-Lease program, thousands of P-39s were shipped to the Soviet Union. There, its mid-level performance was perfectly suited to the Eastern Front. Soviet pilots, many of whom became aces, praised the Airacobra's firepower and ruggedness. In fact, the top Soviet ace of the war, Alexander Pokrishkin, scored a large portion of his victories flying the P-39. Back in the Pacific, American and Allied pilots used the Airacobra effectively in ground attack missions. Its cannon and machine guns tore through supply convoys, tanks, and enemy positions. Its rugged frame allowed it to withstand harsh conditions and bring pilots home even after sustaining heavy damage. The Airacobra may not have had the glamour of the Mustang, but for soldiers on the ground who saw it dive in with guns blazing, it was a lifesaver. For pilots who mastered its quirks, it was a fearsome warbird. Today, only a handful of Bell P-39 Airacobras survive in museums and private collections. At places like the Smithsonian's Udvar Hazy Air and Space Museum, visitors can see the sleek lines and mid-engine design up close, appreciating how advanced and bold the engineering was for its time. In 8K resolution, as we present here, you can witness the Airacobra's wartime spirit, flying low over battlefields, dogfighting through the clouds, and standing proudly at America's most famous airbases. These visuals remind us of the bravery of the pilots who flew them, and the engineers who dared to innovate with a design unlike any other of its generation. The story of the Bell P-39 is a story of adaptation. It wasn't the perfect aircraft, but it found its place in the war and proved itself where it mattered most, in combat. So, the next time you think of the iconic warbirds of World War II, remember the Airacobra. It may have flown in the shadows of more famous aircraft, but its bite was as deadly as its name suggests. Thank you for watching Warbirds. If you enjoyed this journey into history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more legendary aircraft in stunning cinematic 8K. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies.